what better represents a good espresso than the thin caramel color layer of bubbles on top of our coffee. Hi, my name is Colin and you are on Cafe Lista, the channel dedicated for coffee and espresso lovers at home. So, how do we get more crema? It's an important question because there is nothing more frustrating than investing in an espresso machine and getting little or no crema, resulting in an espresso that lacks that distinctive texture and body. In this video, we will explore 5 ways to always get a beautiful crema on your espresso, regardless of whether you have an automatic coffee machine, a budget espresso, or a more advanced one. These tips apply to all machines. So, what is crema? First, a few words to understand what crema is. It's really important to know how it forms to be sure that it's always going to be present in your espresso. Crema is made up of tiny bubbles that form on top of your espresso. It is coffee oils mixed with carbon dioxide or CO2. During roasting, our coffee will produce CO2 that gets trapped in the coffee beans. And this is why coffee bags have degazing valves to let that CO2 escape. Otherwise, the bag would become completely inflated. When we extract our espresso, the hot water, usually between 90 to 96 degrees Celsius, will pass through the coffee puck at a very high pressure, around 9 bar, causing a rapid degazing, releasing that CO2 and contributing to the formation of crema. Now we know a little bit more about how crema is created, but how do we get more crema? Fresh coffee beans. This is the secret and the most important element. We need fresh coffee beans. As we saw earlier, the fresher the roast and the more CO2 will be present in the ground in the coffee beans, and therefore the more crema we will have in the cup. Trying to get a nice crema with a pre-ground coffee bought at the supermarket, usually it's not going to work, especially if you're using a small espresso machine that comes with a pressurized filter. You will struggle for poor results in the cup. So what does freshly roasted coffee mean? Generally, we recommend a coffee roasted between 2 to 5 weeks ago. Coffee that is too fresh will have too much CO2, which is not ideal, and a coffee that is too old will have a little CO2 and will produce less crema. But it doesn't mean that the coffee will be bad. On most specialty coffee bags you will find the roasting date, the right grind. Once we have a good fresh coffee beans, we've done 80% of the work, provided we have the right grind. Here a good grind means very fine coffee grind, which requires a grinder that is made for espresso. Grinding too fine, a little bit like flour, might over-extract the coffee and make it too bitter. It's not the best. On the other hand, a grind that is too coarse will result in an under-extracted coffee. The water will pass through the espresso puck too quickly and we will get little crema, which will be a light beige, and it's a sign of an under-extraction. The right machine. For real crema, we need a good machine, an espresso machine. Super automatic coffee machine can also make a decent job, though the texture and the body might not be exactly the same. We need that high pressure. So for example, a mocha pot will not produce real crema or a real espresso. We also need the right basket. Having the machine is good, but you also need the right portafilter and the right basket. With entry-level machines, we often get pressurized filters that will produce foam but won't have the same texture or the same quality as a non-pressurized filter. So to get the maximum crema, we need an espresso machine and a non-pressurized filter and a non-pressurized coffee basket. And finally, the right coffee. As we say, the best coffee is the one you love, but know that in general, a light roast will have less crema. So here we prefer a medium to a medium dark roast. Robusta will also produce more crema. It's possible to find Italian blend with usually 80% of Arabica and 20% of Robusta, which could be a good option if you like this type of coffee to increase your crema. I have a question for you. Is crema for you an indicator of a good espresso? Do you like your espresso with a lot of crema or just a little? You can leave your comment down below. By applying these 5 tips, there is no reason your coffee shouldn't have great crema. Oh, by the way, I recommend watching this video. It should interest you. Okay, I'm going to finish my coffee. As usual, see you soon and have a great week. Ciao!